Absolutely love a good rib that's finished in foil like that, but these aren't my favorite. My favorites are coming. I'm a dry rib guy. Hey, it's Andy Groneman here with atbbq.com, and today we are gonna do wet and dry spare ribs. All right, so we're gonna start with some St. Louis cut spare ribs today, and the first thing that I wanna do is just peel this membrane off so I can get right underneath that bone there, grab that with a dry paper towel, and I'm just gonna peel away this membrane. And that's gonna let my smoke and my seasoning penetrate as these cook. It's gonna give us a really nice finish, so this is always the first step we wanna take. Get the last of it right there. And then I wanna trim up any extraneous fat and get these nice and lined up. You can see we've got bone here, but we've got cartilage at this end that's turning out. So I'm actually gonna start at my longest bone and trim these up so that they're nice and square. Just like so. There's a little bone down here that is not gonna wanna cook right, so I'm gonna peel that off. And same on this end, you can see they left half of a bone on this rack. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that off as well. If I have any extra meat here, I'll just take that off. Little tiny bits there, I think we're good to go. All right, so we're marinating this in Smoke on Wheels Pork Marinade Injection. It has lots of papain in it from the pineapple juice. It's got apple cider vinegar, brown sugar, some chipotle. So it's got a really nice balance of flavors that play well with pork. It's gonna start to break down our ribs and create that tenderness that we want before we even start cooking them. And then it's gonna add that flavor as they cook. So it's a great base to start with before we season. All right, so we've had about 2 hours in the marinade. These are coming out. You can see they've taken on a little bit of the color. They've also plumped up a little bit. That's great. That's exactly what we want to see. Now we're ready to season these. So we're going to season these with Yardbird. I don't need any binder for this because we've just pulled them out of the marinade. They're nice and moist already. But Yardbird Rub, built for chicken, made for pork. This stuff is absolutely amazing on ribs, and the color is going to be great. So we're going to start with our Yardbird today. I'm just going to give a nice even coating over the top of these. And if you're looking at volume or trying to figure out how much I'm actually using, you're going to end up with probably about a 1/4 cup of rub on 2 slabs. But we get that nice coating. We're going to go ahead and give these a flip. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And then any rub that I've got left that's on the cutting board, we're going to use that rub. We're going to rub it into the ends of the ribs so that they get a nice even coat all the way around the slab. And you'll notice that the rub is falling nice and evenly because we're not right on top of the ribs. I've got about 6 inches between the shaker and the ribs so that I get a really good even coat. Using everything on the board. So while our pit is heating up, these ribs will start to let that rub penetrate. It's going to moisturize all of the seasonings in the rub. It's going to take that salt and start to pull them in. So we'll get a really nice sheen going on top of the ribs. As soon as we see that, they can go straight to the pit. All right, so we're at our YS1500s. This is my go-to pit for anything low and slow. I'm going to go ahead and load our ribs in, and later we're going to get to the wet versus dry, but for now we just want to let these start cooking. So I'm going to go ahead and load these on our rack like so. And then these are going to ride for the next couple of hours. All right, so it's been about 2 hours. You can see we've got a gorgeous bark setting up on these ribs, and we've got these nice little fat pockets starting to form. So we're ready to take these to the next step. I said early on we're going to do a wet and a dry rib. It's not a religious debate. You can have either, and it's going to be great. So we're going to do one of each just to kind of show you what that looks like. But for our wet ribs, what makes them a wet rib is we are going to finish them and let them braise in the foil in their own juices and a little bit more rub, and we're going to add some sweetness with a honey as well. So for the second rub, I am using the honey chipotle rub from Our Butts Are Smokin. It's going to add just a nice little bit of heat to the bite and give us a little bit more balance on our flavor. And then I'm going to just add a little bit of honey as well. I'm going to give that a flip. And then we're going to do the same thing on the back side. And I'm just wetting this with a little bit more marinade just so that our rub sticks nicely. And you can see that these ribs are not cooked yet. There's still lots of flex there. The bones aren't pulling away. So these are, while the temperature of the rib is a cooked piece of pork, they are not done to the level that we would want to eat them yet. So we're just going to let these keep going. And in about another hour and a half, we will check them. So I'm going to wrap these tightly because we don't want them to steam inside the foil. We want them to actually just let the juices that are forming braise the meat and kind of roll around in there. So we're going to wrap this really tightly, and that will help keep that bark that we set on these ribs. So these are ready to go back into the cooker. So these are going back into the pit. And then I have our rack that we are doing as a dry rib, and I'm just going to moisten the surface and let that evaporate and help set that bark up. I'll also throw just a little bit of our rub on these as well, and really double down on that crust. We're going to get a really nice bark on these when we go to eat them. I'm going to flip these and let them cook meat side down for just a little bit. You can see we've got all of that nice kind of fat forming up on this side, so we'll go ahead and let those roll. I'm just coming in and giving these another spritz just to really help add another layer of flavor. This is going to evaporate off again and then just really set that bark and flavors in there. So let's go ahead and give these a check. I'm going to just spritz one more time. You can see our color is great. Let's look at this side. Yeah, that's setting up beautiful. I'm going to slide these out of the way, and let's bring our rack out and check on our wrapped ribs. Now what I want to see here is I want to see them really starting to give up some of that tension. Oh yeah, look, our bones are starting to pull there. We've got really nice soft meat. You can see we've still got bark, but the color and everything is soft. Let's go ahead and, ooh, look at that. Oh my God, yeah, those are about ready. You can see we've got really nice pull on those bones, and the meat is moving freely around them. I'd say these are just about ready to glaze up and finish. I'm going to slide these to the back and just give them one more spritz. Now you'll notice that the back slab, the dry slab here, is a little bit tighter still. It's still got some of that flex to it, and that's because when we wrap these, that speeds that tenderization process. That braising really helps kick that off. So now I'm just going to go ahead, glaze these up with a little sauce. We're going to take a little bit of that pork fat and love from the bottom of the foil and just brush that in. We'll let these tack up, and then these are going to be ready to eat. So we're about 4 hours into this cook, and as I said, these 5 minutes, we're going to pull them and they're ready to go. We'll give these about another half hour. So we'll go ahead and let these set up, and off we go. All right, so we've got our dry ribs. It's been about another half hour. You can see now they're breaking over like the wet ones. They are really nice. Look at that right there. We're getting a little pull on the bone. Yes, this is exactly what we want. Let's go ahead and take those to the board. Okay, so let's go ahead and just slice into these. And again, wet versus dry, these got that nice kind of braising liquid finish. You can see we got really nice color on there, good color, good look on the bone. We'll get all of these sliced, then we'll break into one. We're gonna go ahead and give one of these a bite and see how they turned out. Oh, look at that. Perfect bite away from the bone. It didn't pull all the meat off, so it's not overdone. You can see the bone's still just a little wet. So nice moisture all the way to the bone. It's gonna dry while it sits there. That is the perfect rib bite. Absolutely love a good rib that's finished in foil like that, but these aren't my favorite. My favorites are coming. I'm a dry rib guy. Now this rib is gonna have that nice dry crust on the exterior, but we should still get a nice bite. Yeah, see, look at that. Absolutely beautiful on the bone. Bites clean away. For me, that exterior crust is what really sets it off because you get more of that smoke and concentrated seasoning right when you get the bite, but you still get this moist, tender rib. Absolutely my favorites right there. All here at All Things Barbecue, atbbq.com.